In episode 6, we talked about efficiency. That means how a multi-level system can make a battery or motor more efficient. Episode 6. Welcome back, Manuel. We're talking today about efficiency. Efficiency in the gear, efficiency in the battery, and all kinds of efficiency that can be achieved with multi-level. What do you have to say about that?
It's not that easy to change the efficiency of the gear, because the gear is behind the motor. So it's not independent from us. Maybe a little bit because of frequencies on the mechanical side, because you have because you have an sinus quality. We talked about THC, talked about stuff.
Yeah.
Reason. But on the efficiency side, for understanding a hive plane, you have to differentiate different efficiencies. So you have your efficiency, which is based on the form of the vehicle. And you have efficiency in the drivetrain itself. So you have losses in your batteries, you have losses in your inverter, and you have losses in your motor. Then comes the gear and everything. So with a multi-level converter, we can increase the efficiency of the batteries, because we have the possibility to have these pulses on the batteries, and be in your Nyquist plot a point where the impedance of the batteries is the best. So your E square R losses are lower. And if you think about a multi-level converter which has the possibility to switch batteries in parallel, you can have a higher efficiency on lower voltages. To understand this, it's not completely right, but the speed of the motor is equal to the voltage.
The speed regarding the the rounds per minute. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Equal to the voltage, and the torque is equal to the.
Yeah.
It's not completely right, but it's a consumption. In the we can say it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
On the scientific point, there are other things to be mentioned, but to understand the full system, I think it's a good
way to show it. Yeah.
So if we drive slow, we have a low voltage, and with a low voltage we can switch more cells parallel, and having more cells parallel that more batteries are parallel with the resistor in it, although you have half the losses if you switch two batteries parallel. 3 batteries, you have 1/3 of the losses. So we are building our sinus, for example, with 4 batteries. So we can switch 4 batteries in parallel if we build 4 volt, and if we build 8 volt, we have 2 batteries. So we can see the battery as a matrix which is configuring on each step. So we can decrease the battery losses. On the inverter side, there's a funny fact that we have no not longer switching losses, because we switching the batteries, if you build a sinus 4 times in one fundamental.
Yeah.
If we have a fundamental of 50 Hertz, we switch 4 times for each battery cell, and just 4 volt. And the switching losses are independent of current, voltage, frequency, and the type to switch on and off. The time is lower because of 4 volt. The frequency is lower because we are switching just 4 times, not 70,000 times. Or at higher frequencies, for example, with gallium nitride. And the current has to be there. We have no chance to change it, because we need our torque. But the customer wants to have an acceleration on the car, then we have to give it to the customer. But the voltage is also just 4 volt.
Yeah.
And then the switching frequency is not, and the switching losses are there not any longer. But the RDS on losses, so the on losses are there, and we have a lot of MOSFETs in serial in such a system. Now the RDS on is pretty important, and to decrease the losses, now it is possible to switch more MOSFETs in parallel. And this is not possible for a normal inverter, because the switching losses are a big issue on it. And switching MOSFETs parallel is also easier for low switching applications, because you have a negative temperature coefficient, temperature coefficient, and the MOSFETs are equalizing by its own. So if a MOSFET has a higher temperature, he has a higher RDS on, though the losses are lower, the MOSFET becomes colder, and then it is equal. For higher frequencies, on the MOSFET side, it's not the same, because the threshold voltage is changing, but not that important for a multi-level converter. So now we have the opportunity to switch a lot of MOSFETs in parallel, or think about MOSFETs with a high silicium square meter, and then having extremely low losses. If we would build a big MOSFET, not like the usual ones, we would not have any longer RDS on losses or switching losses. And on the motor side, it is also possible to increase the efficiency, because the step from 2 level to 3 level we had already in the previous episode is decreasing, because a good sinus makes lower losses in the But it's not clear how big this impact is. If you change from 2 level to 3 level, it's clear. But from 3 level to 100 level, I think it's not any longer the big step, but there will be a decrease of the losses.
But still there is one, so
Maybe just for until 7 level or something like this, but there will be an effect. Yeah, for the motor, there are different approaches which are good, but I think we will do a different episode on how the isolation is not harmed any longer that much, or the common mode making a difference. And if you think about the charging, we had in the last episode a little explanation how a charging system is built. All or each of the power conversions makes losses, and if you have a direct inverter, a multi-level inverter on the grid, there's just one conversion, though the AC battery is charging on the AC, and this will be a almost perfect efficiency. Though, and the efficiency of charging an car is way more important than we think, because
the efficiency regarding time. When you talk about efficiency in charging, do you mean like that it's faster to charge the batteries, or also
faster because the limiting factor, the amount of heat, so this is the limiting factor, but also the efficiency, how much
losses or you can avoid,
amount of energy which you want to put into your car, and the losses are not in the car, but for the thinking most of the OEMs had was that it's not important. We want to charge fast, and if we have higher losses, we would cool them down. But in the US, and I think in all other countries that will be also happen, they think about also having an Bestrafung,
and that you will need to pay a fee, or
is thinking about a fee if you charge your car not efficient, because this energy is wasted. Well, I think it also in the European Union it will be the Russian price. Energy is more important.
Because of
years.
No, and this was in the trend of the environmental reason, being more cautious with energy.
Also on the semiconductor side, there happened a lot. So we are most of the OEMs have seen that an IGBT inverter is not any longer a good inverter semiconductor or topology, and we are switching to silicon carbide. This can switch way faster than IGBTs, have lower switching losses, is pretty expensive because the wafers grow not that fast, so you need a high temperature for it, and the wafer is not growing fast enough. And in the near future, it will be not a problem which is solved right now, but on gallium nitride, you can switch faster, but the gallium nitride has lower voltages. We have to build a pre-level inverter. But with this high slopes of switching, so you can switch in nanoseconds, a few hundred volt, it is necessary to protect the motor, because this high switching frequencies are damaging the isolation. So it's a complex field system. If you increase the efficiency on a normal inverter topology, you have side effects. So this high switching frequency is not what we will do in the future. We have to switch slow, switch small.
When we were talking about efficiency in batteries as well, I think pulse modulation, what you already talked about, becomes also an important fact or something we need to mention.
Modulation is one of the reasons why the efficiency is not good, because you have to switch 7,000 times. If you think about it,
that you always, for sure. But I mean, it's it's something. But it's like pulse modulation is so, how to say, integrated in as a fundamental concept in electro technology that you don't ask yourself anymore if it should be that way or not. Because it's also so easy. Like if you have low voltages, it does not matter. Like there the losses are marginal. It's like not a problem at all. Great. I would say this concludes our episode. Do you last words?
The most efficient way.
Or the E in BAVERTIS stands for efficiency. Thank you, Manuel.